Oh, is Sarah coming?
Go for it.
Yeah. Everybody was texting in our group and they were like, we all have tests. And I'm like, I'm going to Cammy's house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just
Testing time.
give it some time for the video to play.
Alright, you tell me when.
The video is gonna play.
It's playing for the live stream. People.
But YouTube is watching you right
Hello, YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube and on the website, I'm gonna give it just a minute.
So you guys get to be like Christian.
No, you can talk.
You guys get to see like the behind the scenes stuff that's happening and going out to the
Our
world.
live audience.
You need to get one of those like clap now.
Yeah.
things.
Applause.
Can we get one of those
Yeah,
next week?
applause. Yeah, let's just have that up there.
Have it like light up. You can click it. That'd be amazing.
Could be awesome.
Video's still playing.
Okay, cool. Hey, how's everyone's day?
Pretty good.
I got first thumbs up, then and then from Vince.
I feel like we're seated like a middle school dance right
We
now.
really
I feel like we should mix it up a little bit at some point.
We really are.
Okay, I'll sit over there and you sit over here.
Okay,
We'll bridge the gap.
we can bridge the gap. They're like, please don't. You don't.
Is this okay?
Honestly, you both look so nice in your flannel. Right there in the middle. Looks so good.
You can start.
Awesome. Hey, welcome to Thursday Night Live. Glad you guys are here at the campus house. Glad you guys are here tuning in live. We love you guys and are excited about tonight. We want to start out with a question of the day, just like we did last week, for you guys to just hang out and discuss among whoever you're watching with, in your family group or among your roommates or in this room, whoever you're sitting next to discuss. And so some of you know, some of you don't, but a couple weeks ago, my car was totaled by a drunk driver, and it has been a crazy 2 weeks dealing with all of the fallout of that. But this past weekend, a group of students and alumni and close friends of mine in the CCVT family and beyond basically got together and collected some financial help for me in my car situation, and it was by far the most surprising, unexpected, and incredible gift I've ever received. And so I want to take a minute and say thank you so much, and that I'm so thankful for the CCVT community and family for stepping up like that. That was really amazing for those that got to do it. But that leads us beautifully into our question of the night, which is, what is the best or the worst gift that you have ever received? So do the flashbacks to childhood birthdays and Christmas. Go ahead, do the highlight reel right now, and take a couple minutes to discuss, and then one of us will be back up here for announcements in a second. Best worst gift.
Best worst gift.
Yep.
Hands down, otter onesie.
Best?
Best.
Yes.
You have an otter
Oh,
onesie.
that
Yes.
best.
You have to wear that
You
next
say
It
how
has a little shell. It has
That's
a tail.
Probably like the
Okay.
I love that.
An empty pinata.
You got an empty pinata.
Oh, your mom's the best.
Worse. She didn't.
I forgot.
She
She's not
said-
a pinata.
Oh, I guess it's right here.
She's like, I want a cake of candy.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, so I was the birthday boy, so I got the first swing, so I'm up there, I got this. Crack that thing in half, first swing, goes around, everybody comes in.
Oh my.
And my mom's just like, she's her fault.
That might win.
I love how she that happened to me when it was with a friend. A friend got me this pinata. It was like this huge gift, and so all of us went to hit it, and then we were so sad.
That's so sad. What's worse than an empty pinata? Does anybody top that?
I can't top that, but when you're from my birthday, I wanted to hear
Very appreciative.
from my grandmother, and I told her, and she's like, well, actually, we already got your gift. And I was like, oh, okay. And so she gave me this, and it was like this weird looking
We
bag
got as a kid.
that had a spoon
I remember I got, like,
for
when
itself
you were
out
eight,
into
it was like
it, and she
a
gave me like a,
and
not brass knuckles, but it was like a
I got
thing
some
to
new
like, you know,
Oh my god.
totally like brass knuckle.
Okay.
I I couldn't, you know, it wouldn't make any sense. Like,
They still work. Did you get anybody else get a really bad gift? Or
I got the cliche socks.
you got what?
I love cliche socks.
Okay.
But better yet, I bought them with my grandma for all my relatives.
Okay.
Used it this morning.
All right, so if you're jumping on the live stream a few minutes late, the question of the day is, what is the best or the worst gift that you've ever received?
We had some good ones.
We did have some really good ones. There was someone who very confidently said otter onesie.
She's wearing it next
Otter onesie. Next
She's gonna
week.
wear it
Next week, onesie week.
week. Onesie week.
Any other answers here in the room? Nope. I want
What
to
was
share Brandon's for
The
sure.
saddest one you need to tell.
The saddest one. Is there any other ones? Best worst gifts? We'll end with heartbreak here.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Absolutely heartbreaking. Our very own, well, not only Brandon, but also Lindsay. Which I can't believe this has happened more than one time. What do you know what birthday it was?
I was in elementary school.
Elementary school.
I was too.
Birthday, Lindsay too. Birthday boy, birthday girl. Up to bat, the birthday piñata. And they got an empty piñata. Mama forgot to buy the candy.
I didn't know we were going to have to do this 2 weeks in a row, but if you'd like to support Brandon and Lisa, you can Venmo me cash to get them a full
Next
piñata.
week we're gonna have a full piñata.
Could someone just bring a full piñata
For Brandon.
to
And
the
then
campus
what?
house for Brandon?
You guys want like a unicorn one or any preference? A dinosaur maybe? You think? Okay, that'll be good. Alright, so I think Tanner is gonna come up here.
Oh man.
I think and give a couple of announcements to you guys before we jump into tonight.
Give it a shot.
Hey, this is Tanner.
What's up, guys? How's it going? Feels weird talking to you. You're not there. Well, you are, but anyway. Yeah, so I'm gonna look at you guys now. And hey to the people behind you. Anyway.
It's awesome.
So first announcement. This Saturday at 8 o'clock, right here in the yard at the campus house, we're having a movie night. All right, we're gonna have Monsters Inc. It's gonna be on the big screen. We're gonna have speakers. We're gonna have projectors. Bring a blanket. Bring a mask. Bring a friend. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be strobe lights.
Strobe lights. It's gonna be a whole disco party.
Yep.
What else we got? Also, next Tuesday at 5 o'clock, we're gonna have a Taco Tuesday and tie-dye night. So come here at the campus house. We're gonna have to make your own tacos. We're gonna also be able to tie-dye your own shirts, and it's gonna be really fun. Hope you guys can come. And then also this Sunday, we are having our very own Jack Buchanan preach at a church that I can't remember the name of.
Community Christian.
Community Christian, there we go. So it'll be cool. Hope you guys can make it. Now I'm gonna let a much better orator and much better speaker come behind me, and that's gonna be Mike.
Okay. Wow. Hey, thanks Tanner. And yeah, that's gonna be awesome. If you want to come and see Jack preach at Community Christian and support him, we're gonna meet here at 9:30 on Sunday. If you want to go to Belmont, we're gonna meet here at 10:30. And tonight, we're going to do something a little bit different tonight. Tonight on your live stream and here at the campus house, we have two of our alumni. Their names are Anu and Devaun. We love them a lot. They're amazing. And they graduated from here 2 years ago. And one of the things that we encouraged you to do last week when we talked about race and racism and racial reconciliation is listen to other people's perspective. Listen to someone's perspective. Get to know somebody, build a relationship so you can hear what other people are going through and how they're responding to what's going on in our country and our world in regards to race. And so we did that this week. Tonight you're going to get to hear from Anu and Devaun and just see a video of me interviewing them and talking to them. And one of the things I want to let you know is that afterwards, after we get done with tonight, sometime tonight or tomorrow morning, if you go to our Instagram page, at CCVT Grace, there's going to be a bunch of suggestions and places that you can go in groups on campus here at Virginia Tech. There's going to be videos suggested for you to watch and upcoming events that will just help you continue the conversation about race, racism, and racial reconciliation. And all those are just going to show up on our story on our Instagram feed at CCVT Grace. Those are recommended from Devaun, from some from me, some from Abby, one of our other campus ministers. And so we are just excited for you to engage in those things. And so we're excited to hear from Anu and Devaun tonight. And so I just want to pray, and then hopefully you will start to see a video in a few moments of Anu and Devaun in the interview. So let's pray together. God, we just thank you so much for your love. We thank you for your grace. We thank you for just the beauty of this night, that we can hear from two people that really set a foundation of love and grace in this place. And there's so many that are watching this or are here tonight because of their influence. And I just pray we would hear their perspective tonight, and God, you would move in our lives tonight through this as we discuss it. God, it's in your name we pray. Amen.
If it's us or them, it's us for them, it's us for them. We reject the either or, they can't define us anymore. Cause if it's us or them, it's us for them, it's us for them.
Well, hey, CCVT family. We love you guys. We're excited that you're here with us tonight. And tonight, we're just going to share, just going to have a time with two of our prestigious alumni from CCVT, and graduated from Virginia Tech a couple years ago. And now they're doing all these like big things out in California, doing architecture stuff and just being awesome. And it's Anu and Devaun. So many of you guys know them and love them. If you are a freshman or you haven't met them, at some point, hopefully you'll meet them because they are the best. And so, hi Anu, hi Devaun.
What's up?
And Devaun.
Or sophomores. Sophomores wouldn't know us either.
That's true. Sophomores might not know you. Probably most people have heard about you guys. In the first year that I got here to the campus ministry, very quickly, Anu became my favorite student. I'll say it right now. You're not supposed to have favorites. I have one right now. But back in the day, Anu, very first favorite student. And then Devaun just became my best friend very quickly. Showed up for breakfast one morning on a Monday at the campus house and never looked back. So that was pretty awesome. But they're out in California right now. Pretty cool. How's life in California? Is it good?
I mean, right now, air quality is pretty bad.
Yeah.
I could see the sun today, so that's an improvement.
Yep. There's some crazy things going on out there with fires and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are safe. And so what we've been doing a series called Us for Them. And instead of us or them, a lot of times we kind of live in a very divisive kind of nature when it comes to some different things that are going on in our world right now. And so we've talked about the pandemic and just being unified in the body of Christ in that, and helping each other and loving one another. This past week, we talked about race and racism and racial reconciliation. And next week, we're going to talk about politics. And really, we kind of understand that in all these things, our perspective is limited to what we've kind of seen and experienced and heard. And so last week, I spoke about race and just kind of understanding that my perspective is limited in that. We wanted to just talk to some people, like different people that we know and we love, that could bring a perspective that they have. And we just want our students to hear from you guys and to hear what you guys see and what your guys' perspective is, because we love you, and we really are honored that you would even come and just kind of share with us today. And so one of the things I just want to ask right off the bat is, like, with everything going on that has been going on this year and really for so many years, what do you guys see? Like, what is your perspective? What kind of things would you share with our students just helping us to see what you guys see. So maybe just share a little bit of your perspective about everything that's kind of going on with race and racism and racial reconciliation and stuff in America right now.
You got it.
What a gentleman. Ladies first. That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, of course, this year has been, I think, for a lot of people, seemingly harder than a lot of other years with racial tension. I have to preface by saying I'm Nigerian, so I'm not US born and raised. I moved here for college and I'm just here working. So a lot of the racial dynamic is very new to me. But I would say from the very first year that I set my foot on US soil for college, it's been very apparent to me, or like, you know, I don't have, this year it's not new to me. So this is something that I've seen often, heard of often, and have been troubled by often. But I think this year, probably because of how violent, you know, a certain video was, and that also it was, you know, accessible to a lot of people through social media. Also, the fact that we were all at home, we all had time to see it and witness. I think it's started like a huge uproar, you know, concern or defense on both sides. But I think for me as a Black woman, this is not new. It's something that I see often. A lot of times I don't even watch these videos, read these stories, because it's the same story to me. But I will say at large, I'm seeing a lot more people have something to say about this conversation. You know, it's not a thing of like, oh, I'm gonna gather with my community and talk about what has happened or like what we're seeing, or like communities of color. I think for this year, and I think mainly because we're all at home, you know, we're not distracted by a lot of other things. So some of us have work, some of us don't. We've had time to kind of digest or like, you know, be exposed to this. And so I think what I'm seeing is a lot more people in the conversation, and for better, I would say for better, no matter what you're bringing, I would say for better. So
yeah, definitely. Devaun, would you add anything to that?
Nope, I'm playing. But yeah, kind of piggybacking along off of that, I think it's been like, honestly, just kind of like overwhelming, because all these issues have been a thing before, but kind of what like Anu was talking about, like being inside, having it blasted all over the place, is like there, like you couldn't escape it, right? Like this is what you were seeing. So that was pretty overwhelming. And I think one of the biggest factors that, and where a lot of the disconnect lies, is the anxiety that comes from this, right? So it is like tremendously sad, and like very like angering in a lot of ways to see these videos. But I think the question that, where a lot of the disconnect comes, and why people get, part of the reason why people get so upset and angry, is because that feeling of this could be me is very real. And I think a lot of people are like, oh no, but you do this, you do that, you do this. Like, no, you're different, right? That's like, they're like, oh, you'll never end up in that place. And like I can speak for me specifically, like I feel like that could very easily be me. And that's like that's like one of the most like the most scary parts of everything. I remember like after the Ahmaud Arbery video, I literally just sat at my desk for like an hour and a half. Like, what the heck did I just watch? Because I think that one was, to me, even a little bit more jarring, because it wasn't even like the police, right? The citizens just thought like, hey, he looks suspicious and we're gonna go gun him down. Like that is like the scariest thing, like just jogging. I'm like I just think like, yo, if I go like jogging now, like after that, it was like very like, I was very like hyper aware of my surroundings, and it's just like having to do that in every little step of your day is, I think, where the disconnect happens. Like my friend went to go like hiking one day, and we were like telling them like be very like careful of being like secluded areas. So I think that is, and like these are like daily things, and I think that they're heightened at times like this, but it's like anxiety that I think a lot of Black people are forced to live with like every day. And I think that's kind of where the big disconnect is. And when people want to like debate stuff, like people like are really like, this is life and death for me, and
Right.
this isn't really like a debate type thing. So I think that's where a lot of um the disconnect and like a lot of the disagreements happen, is like the stakes are just higher. Yeah.
Definitely. And you know, I I think, it's interesting because I remember every time I went out for a run after I saw that video, um, I remember thinking how no one looked at me suspiciously. Like no one, I didn't have to worry about or have that anxiety. And I just thought about how sad that was, like how heartbreaking that was, that, you know, police cars passed me and didn't stop and say, what are you up to? And that really was kind of just a thing that like I lacked the understanding of what that would be like to feel anxious just going out for a run, or feel anxious driving through a certain neighborhood. Um, Everything I've ever gotten pulled over for was 100% my fault, and I broke the law. Like, I didn't get pulled. I've never gotten pulled over for something I didn't do. Y'all know how I'm a bad driver, but it's just one of those things that perspective is so, like, to me, heavy and heartbreaking. But for you guys, for anybody that would have to maybe even think that way, that because of the way they've been treated or others have been treated, yeah. So anything else that you guys would add to, like, this is something I see, this is something, a perspective that I have that I would want others to know about?
I feel like I think it's important to not, I don't think people realize often how easy it is to strip people of their experience.
Yeah.
If I'm scared, people are not always scared because there's an immediate threat in the vicinity. Mm-hmm. You can, sometimes people get, and this is an easy example, you said something to your friend completely unrelated, and they got upset about it with how you brought it to them. Mm-hmm. You usually don't come up and say, I'm sorry you feel upset. You usually apologize for how you said it, whether you think you're right or not, because it's not about how you said it. Intention is only half of the matter. The other half is how this person's like received it. And so I don't think people realize how easy it is to strip, a Black person who's maybe anxious right now or angry right now or numb, that's just how they're feeling. Mm-hmm. Valid. Where we go from there on out, that's a different story. But I think it's important to be very careful with people's feelings in general. If you're feeling unsafe or you're not comfortable in this situation, I've told you this is my experience. Really, it's nobody's place, me talking to another Black person, me talking to someone who's had a certain experience of abuse or just like anything. It's really not my place to be like, but why'd you feel like that when you live here, or why'd you feel like that when you're not doing this? Same way you would never say that to someone who, for instance, and I'm gonna throw this out there because I think this is a conversation more and more people are getting comfortable with having. Mm-hmm. Like sexual abuse, you shouldn't say that. We all know you shouldn't say that. People are still saying it, unfortunately, but I think it's pretty clear that you shouldn't say that to someone who's like, right. So I'm like, that Like we might think sexual abuse is a big thing, but I think it trickles down into like even the smallest, like I said something that hurt my friend, you know, maybe I didn't like her shirt and the way I said it to her really hurt her. Like,
Yeah.
You know what, that she didn't like it. So that's something to reconsider. And like, maybe you can explain why you don't like her shirt in that case, but I don't think it doesn't give you the authority to maybe strip her of her experience or their feelings. Yeah. I think that's something I would add.
Yeah. And I think when we just speak from our own perspective and we kind of hit back really quickly without listening, and you say, okay, this has been my experience. And I say, well, no, come on. Right. That's not really, well, this is what I experienced, and we kind of fight from our own perspective. It's not actually helpful when we could listen and, listening brings a dignity that says, I love you and I hear you and I see you and I actually care about what could potentially change or happen in this. And I care about what I need to change, to see things from your perspective. And I think that's been the biggest thing for me is like you have not experienced the same thing I've experienced, and I've not experienced the same thing you have experienced. And when we can listen to each other and hear each other, like that's a good thing. Devaun, anything you would add quickly or anything with that one?
Kind of along the same lines. I would just like ask like people to be like patient with people. Because I think part of the reason why I feel like there's a lot of like anger and like frustration, and I think a lot of it's because like Black people have been trying to have this conversation for a long time, right? So when everyone and maybe people just don't want to talk, right? And like I think that's like, don't be offended when somebody like doesn't want to talk about something. It's just like, because you're probably not the only person that hit them up, to be very honest with you. So I think people process things differently. And also, like I was saying earlier, like people have been trying to have this conversation for a long time. And I think some people are kind of frustrated, like, now you guys want to listen, but all this could have been avoided if we had these conversations earlier. So I think that is one thing, just to be patient with people. And even if like it seems like their response is a little bit angry or something, just like, yeah, because they've been dealing with this for so many years.
Right.
Like I had a conversation with my grandma, she was telling me like, be careful when like where you're going, like stay in groups, this, that, and the other. This is probably conversations she had growing up in South Carolina in the 60s. Right. So it's just like, why is she telling her grandchild this same thing this many years later? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like that frustration, and like it was kind of my point earlier, like this is a day-to-day, like I like in any time I'm out, I am like aware of like trying to like almost like de-weaponize myself, since my skin is a weapon, right? So like whether that's like, well, I have my hat backwards now, but wearing it forward, or like not having my hood up, and it's just like different things like that. So like this is a day-to-day like thing for people. So like people just like they're on edge, and like I said, the stakes are like a lot different. Like these are people's lives. So that's, I was just saying to be cognizant of that when having conversations, and like just be patient with people, because people are hurting, people are angry, and people are really frustrated and honestly tired of it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we're here in this place because, like you said, we're not willing to listen and have a conversation and let that lead to change. And, it's heartbreaking that the same conversation that your grandmother probably had speaking into her life that you had, years later, shouldn't have to continue to have that conversation. But so like what, and this is kind of a twofold question, like what has been some of your response to everything that's going on, and what would you encourage college students at Virginia Tech here at CCVT that are going to be watching this, is there anything that you would encourage them to do in their response? So kind of what you guys have been, how you guys have been responding, and then what you would encourage others to do.
Is it ladies first?
I'll say I can go if you want.
Man, he's such a, like, seriously, a gentleman, y'all. Like, find you a man like Devaun. You know, chivalry is not dead, y'all. So
Do you want me to go first? Or?
You can, yeah. Go ahead.
So in terms of like stuff personally that I've been doing, we're like working with a school. Like my firm is like a couple of us in the firm are like working with the school to like basically we're making an architecture class in the school, which is pretty sweet. So like doing some like, which is like, yeah, teaching class over Zoom, like respect to carry. We taught a class the other day. It's very difficult. I have no idea where it went. It was just all black screens. But so like doing things like that, just like to affect like the like community in this area, like in the Bay Area, and as well as just like, yeah, a lot of it's been like, for me personally, just been trying to work with like different orgs, and stuff like that, because like as Mike said, we both work in architecture and there's not that many Black architects, so that's kind of the line like I've been like kind of working in within like my job. And then as in terms of encouraging other people, I would just say like, one big thing is don't search for like I feel like a lot of people are doing this right now. They're searching for the do's and don'ts for Black people. Like that's really not what people are looking for. And honestly, that's part of the problem why we got here. People treat Black people as they're monolithic, as they're the same, copy and paste, and that's not the truth. And it's kind of like what I was talking about earlier. Like some people might want you to hit them up when one of these incidents happen. Some people might not, and like that's just because like people are different people. Yeah. So I think really like just treat like the people that you know and your friends as like individuals, not like your Black friend, right? Like that, just your friend, and they're individuals who has their own likes, dislikes, their own little quirks. So like treat people like as like individual humans. And then like I think like just do something, right? Like whether that be like the smallest thing ever, like just do some small thing that like starts to make an impact, and like keep up on that thing. Like it could just be helping out one kid, but hey, that's a lot compared to what was being done before, right? So I would just say like do something, no matter how small, no matter like even if it may seem stupid, like do the stupid thing, and like that can like bring like positivity. And then also like don't get discouraged, because you're probably going to make mistakes, and don't let like something that goes wrong like keep going at it, because this is a problem that's going to take a lot to solve, because there's a lot to create the problem, so there's going to take a lot to fix it. So I would just like say like find something, like whether it's like something that you're passionate about, like if it's something you're passionate, figure out how that passion can like work to like for the cause. I'm into photography. I know what I'm challenging myself to do more is like tell more Black stories, because that's kind of combating with the whole like Black people are monolithic thing, like tell like stories of like different people and what they're interested in. But that's just like one example. So just get out there and do something, and like really you can really make a big difference. So
definitely, that's awesome. Anu.
So for me, what I've been doing is I've really been guarding myself and my emotions. And I say that I mentioned at the beginning that a lot of times when, and this is so unfortunate to say, but when Devaun is like, did you hear about this? This person was shot. This person was rough handled, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I'm usually like, I just need to know what happened at this point so I don't run into the video. And I would say there's a lot of people that are feeling like that. it's hard to watch people who look like you,
Yeah,
like, go through violence and death only because they look like you. You know, like, it does take a toll on, of course, like, your mental health, your feelings of safety. You know, I live alone, and I've recently moved to California. I don't really know any of my neighbors. If something were to happen to me in my house, it would take a lot. It would take a while for news to get to Devon or to my friends in Blacksburg or my family somewhere else, talk less of my mom and dad in Nigeria, you know? So it's hard watching those narratives and hearing those narratives every day, being reminded of them every day, and not live in fear and not let that start to consume you after a while. Like, kind of what Devaun mentioned. There's a lot of things that Black people do day to day to make us less threatening.
Yeah.
That's already exhausting. There's a lot of things we don't even realize we're doing. So when I've noticed for myself, again, everybody's different, but me, like, exposing myself to all those videos, watching the video, looking at the images, I'm starting to live in fear, right? So for me, it's been a lot of self-care in this time, especially because I have so much time to consume it.
Yeah.
I've been stepping back in that aspect. And I would say that, before I move on to, like, other things I'm doing, don't send these videos to your Black friends.
Right.
More likely than not, they've seen it or they don't want to see it. Okay. It's hard, you know. It's, don't be the one to bring the, like, bad news to them. And that's very important. I'm not saying that to say act like it didn't happen, because that's also not okay. But I think we should be careful with, like, what we're sending people. You just never know, like, where it hurts. And it can be triggering. I don't know if people realize it to that point, but it can be really triggering. And something else I'm doing is in architecture, building my community. So I've been on a lot of conferences and Zoom calls with other architects of color in the industry, and just trying to, like, you know, have comfortable conversations where it's not awkward and I don't have to, like, censor. People are able to be like, this is really how I'm feeling, and not be told that that's not valid, or maybe you should feel some other way. And that's been something that it has been helpful for me. What I love about those conversations is, one, it's on Zoom, so it's accessible for all. Really, there's so many organizations doing big things, and you can tap in. They'll send you the Zoom link. And surprise, in a lot of those conversations in architecture, you don't have to be Black to be in that room or on that Zoom call.
Right.
You just need to know who needs to be taking up space. And that's something I would say for college students, is get involved in the conversation.
Yeah.
But respect what space you need to be in. You need to let the people who have the experiences take up that space, but that in no way means you can't be a part of the conversation.
Sure.
I think the more people and more support we have in these conversations, I think the easier it is to move the cause forward and, like, get away from, you know, the violence, the stress. Because I would say I have non-Black friends who are also really upset about this and, you know, really hurt by the things that are going on. I know the church is hurting because they don't really know how to bring this up. And I've kind of seen it on Sundays when our pastor preaches, and, like, it's so delicate, you know, he's trying not to be too offensive, and I understand it. But I still think that you just need to be in the conversation. Just acting like it's not happening it doesn't help anybody. But definitely approach it delicately. So college, like, being on a college campus is such a great place to be involved. You know, it's such a great place to, like, figure out what other people are doing, people that are moving this cause forward. figure out what they're doing and then just join it.
Yeah.
You know, it's so simple. I think for a lot of things I'm joining, I'm not leading anything. I'm not on the front lines. I'm not teaching a class. But I am joining, right? I am like helping and supporting in any way that I can. And I think that's what a lot of us need to be doing, right? We need to let the people with the experience and the people who are going through this lead, and then be a support, aid, give. That's the very simple thing, is to donate, like $5, $10. They don't really, like, there's no minimum to donating to a cause, like $2.
Yeah.
Just, you know, skip deets one night, you know, donate, like the very simple things. And I think that's what's really important. And then Devaun mentioned something about, like, you know, talking to your Black friends, your friends of color, when like certain things are going on. Yeah, sometimes they don't want to educate you. Unfortunately, sometimes they're tired.
Yeah.
But I don't want that to scare you from reaching out and just asking if they're okay.
Yeah.
You can ask if they want to talk, and if they don't, they'll say no. But then don't be upset. That just means they need some space, you know? But definitely don't act like it's not happening.
Yeah.
You should ask if they're okay. And when you say you're ready to talk, you're actually really there to listen.
Yeah.
Not really, you know, they're the ones that should be doing a lot of the talking, I think. Yeah. That's, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's something that maybe, you know, we could yell and scream about what we assume or what we think. But instead, I mean, what if we listened and amplified voices that were speaking into this that actually know?
Right.
You know, a lot of things that I could say would be, oh, I'm just making an assumption. But if I listen to people that think differently than me, that, you know, have had a different experience than me, I can learn from that and actually amplify their voice. And it might be that we never lead anything. It might be that you never lead anything, but you are amplifying voices that are speaking into this in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's something we can do. And I know, like, I remember having a conversation with you and Anu sitting on my dining room table, and you speaking into, like, barely anybody checked on me to see how I was doing. Right. And when a lot of this first started, you know, being really, like, when everything just was in the news and, you know, amplified, like, and right in front of our faces. And, you know, I remember having that conversation and just how striking it was to me that, you know, I think a lot of people don't know what to do. And this helps. Like, this helps us kind of as a community here say, okay, here's some things that we could be doing that would be helpful. And, you know, anything else you guys would add?
I think kind of talking about we were talking about, like, amplifying voices and stuff and, like, listening. I think, like, collaboration during this time is key. Like, there's, like, so many organizations that are already doing this work. Like,
so
even on tech too, like
so
Black
many.
Organizations Council,
Yeah.
BOC, BSA, like all those, like, I'm sure they have events. So I would say, like, one step is just go to check out some events. Like, you can follow, like, things like VT_BOC. If they still do it like they did, they post, like, every org's events on their, like, Instagram. But yeah, also, like, I know Tech has an NAACP chapter, so all those, I would just, like, follow those and, like, see, like, I think if you don't know where to get started, like, just, like, trying to collaborate with somebody who's already doing something is a great place to start.
Yeah, and there's even a great Facebook page called Race and Grace that a campus pastor here, his name is JJ, like, he started, and that's a great
Pastor
place to
JJ.
just, yeah. So we'll put that info like to that. And Devaun, if you don't mind texting me some of the info you just talked about, and we'll put it at the end of this video so people could check it out, and post that so that people could jump into those things. And I don't know. I mean, maybe just this is kind of a surprise question, but like, is there anything that like, thank you for your excitement, Anu. What do you think, like, just, you guys are both followers of Jesus. Like, what do you think, what does the gospel speak into this? What do you see? Is there a connection between like the love and grace of Jesus that you experience in a relationship with him and this? Like, is there a scripture or a word or something or a phrase that you would say that like, okay, this is what the gospel speaks into this?
Yes. I've been thinking about it often because I had one particularly striking conversation with a friend who was not on the same page as me with a lot of these issues. And we got into a debate. I guess it was a debate on his part, but on my part, it feels less like a debate and more like you're attacking my experience. But I think, and he is Christian, so that made it, we had a lot of conversations to have on like Christianity and grace and, just being different. And I think something that really stood out to me is that a lot of people are trying to find out why I should not be graceful to this person, or why I should not have empathy for this person, or why this person does not deserve all these posters or a march or a memorial, and I was just kind of like, Jesus never asked why we don't deserve the love and the grace and the listening ear. Actually, he handles that later, but only after he's already poured out all his love and grace and listening on you. And then he can be like, yeah, but then those like non-husbands you have at home, get rid of those, right? This was after he like had a whole conversation with the woman at the well, not about that, but more about how like he's here for her. And that's something I've also been trying to, challenge myself for, talking to people who are not maybe on the same page as me, versus why I should not waste my time on this, or why I should not bother having this conversation. I think as Christians, a lot of times we don't have to ask that question. We should just come in with grace. The why nots are not important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's awesome. Beautiful. Girl, you just know you can preach at CCVT anytime. All right. I'm serious. I'm
coming for your job.
Yeah, people want it. They would be like, yo, we get rid of Mike and get into it. I'm ready. Hire her. So we're ready.
Not even close. Couldn't even.
Devaun, anything you would add to that, or would you just amen a new sermon?
I was about to say, I'm not the preacher that Anu is, but we've actually been like reading, we read Romans 14 in small group last week. And I think it's been like kind of like tough for me too. Like just, I think it's been like very helpful for me, but tough. And it basically talks about kind of like loving people through their differences and stuff. And basically like not to destroy the church over like differences and like what usually is like petty manners. Even though this is like seems like it's talking about food in the chapter, but I think like you can place food with a lot of things, and then like it's applicable to a lot of situations. So I just think like that's something I've been like really trying to do, is like focus on like loving each other through like our differences. And like just being like having grace in like all like situations. It's not the sermon, but
Yo,
Read Romans 14 is good.
like, the people knew that Anu could preach, but they didn't know that Devaun could preach, man. Like, just have a team coming here. Y'all get on a flight and come on over, man. Like, both y'all could be
She
awesome.
was off the dome. That's you saw me looking down during hers. That's why I was out here.
You're like looking up verses. Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. Well, man, we love you guys so much, and just really thankful that you guys would spend a little time with us tonight. And you know, I think it's just thank you for bringing such a beautiful perspective and just a word that our students can now jump in to groups with each other and just talk to one another just about what stood out to them, and just have a further discussion and conversation. And we want you to know that this is just kind of the jumping off point where it's like we're jumping off a diving board into something bigger, to continue conversation, continue pressing in, and hopefully just seeing God work in beautiful ways in us and through us. And so we love you guys, and we're thankful.
Love you too, Mike.
Love you too.
We will not fight their wars. We will not fall in line. 'Cause if it's us or them, it's us for them. It's us for them. We reject the either or. They can't define us anymore. 'Cause if it's us or them, it's us for them. It's us for them. it's us for them. We reject the either or. They can't define us anymore. Cause if it's us or them, it's us for them, it's us for them.
Well, hey, CCVT family. We love you guys. We're excited that you're here with us tonight. And tonight, we're just going to share, just going to have a time with two of our prestigious alumni from CCVT and graduated from Virginia Tech a couple years ago. And now they're doing all these like big things out in California, doing architecture stuff and just being awesome. And it's Anu and Devaun. So many of you guys know them and love them. If you are a freshman or you haven't met them, at some point, hopefully you'll meet them because they are the best. And so, hi Anu, hi Devaun.
What's up?
And Devaun.
Or sophomores. Sophomores wouldn't know us either.
That's true. Sophomores might not know you. Probably most people have heard about you guys. You know, in the first year that I got here to the campus ministry, very quickly Anu became my favorite student. I'll say it right now. You're not supposed to have favorites. I have one right now. But back in the day, Anu, very first favorite student. And then Devaun just became my best friend very quickly. You know, showed up for breakfast one morning on a Monday at the campus house and never looked back, you know, so that was pretty awesome. But they're out in California right now. Pretty cool. How's life in California? Is it good?
I mean, right now, air quality is pretty bad.
Yeah.
I could see the sun today, so that's an improvement.
Yep. There's some crazy things going on out there with fires and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are safe. And so what we've been doing a series called Us for Them. And instead of us or them, a lot of times we kind of live in a very divisive kind of nature when it comes to some different things that are going on in our world right now. And so we've talked about the pandemic and just being unified in the body of Christ in that, and helping each other and loving one another. This past week, we talked about race and racism and racial reconciliation. And next week, we're going to talk about politics. And really, we kind of understand that in all these things, our perspective is limited to what we've kind of seen and experienced and heard. And so last week, I spoke about race and just kind of understanding that my perspective is limited in that. We wanted to just talk to some people, like different people that we know and we love, that could bring a perspective that they have. And we just want our students to hear from you guys and to hear what you guys see and what your guys' perspective is, because we love you and we really are honored that you would even come and just kind of share with us today. And so one of the things I just want to ask right off the bat is, like, with everything going on that has been going on this year and really for so many years, what do you guys see? Like, what is your perspective? What kind of things would you share with our students, just helping us to see what you guys see? So maybe just share a little bit of your perspective about everything that's kind of going on with race and racism and racial reconciliation and stuff in America right now.
You got it.
What a gentleman. Ladies first. That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, of course, this year has been, I think, for a lot of people, seemingly harder than a lot of other years with racial tension. I have to preface by saying I'm Nigerian, so I'm not US born and raised. I moved here for college and I'm just here working. So a lot of the racial dynamic is very new to me. But I would say from the very first year that I set my foot on US soil,